Does it ever seem like socializing is so easy for others, but somehow it's hard for you? And if you don't do something about this, you'll have less opportunities and your life won't be as fulfilling. That's why today, I'll give you a proven plan to connect with people as a high achieving introvert. This is the exact same advice that I've given to all my past clients, and they've seen amazing results with it. But first, let me ask you a question. Do you often lose people whenever you speak? They can't follow what you're saying, and that's why they seem checked out. If that's happened to you before, I want you to imagine trying to read a map in the dark. You know the information's there, but it's useless because you can't see anything. Now, let's pretend you found a flashlight. Suddenly, everything makes sense. You can see the path and you now know where you're going. You see, that's what a good story does in conversation. It prevents confusion and clarifies why people should care about what you're saying. So, how do you actually do it? One of my clients had the exact same issue, and he was able to overcome it. He works as a software engineer and he plays a lot of video games. He came to me for help because he's struggling to interact with people. And when we started working together, I quickly discovered why. He was just really hard to chat with. He would ramble and mention a bunch of unnecessary details. Also, he tends to use a lot of words that only people from his industry would understand. To fix this issue, I gave him a simple structure to follow. So the next time he shares something, he needs to set it up first and create some tension. And then talk more about how things make him feel instead of using too much facts. Lastly, he needs to tie everything together when he concludes his story. That way, everything makes sense and don't just come off like a random thought. I also got him writing down interesting things that happened to him. That way, he has a bank of topics to pull from whenever he talks to someone. And when he did those things, his interactions dramatically improved. And now, people enjoy hanging out with him, and he's able to host well-attended events. You see, that's what a good story can do. But without this next point, that's going to be an issue. If you're an introvert, socializing with others may not come naturally to you. That's why making small talk, speaking up in groups, or asking someone to hang out takes so much effort. So when you push yourself to do those things and you get turned down, then it sucks big time, right? But here's the thing. How you handle moments like that can either build your social confidence or slowly destroy it. Think of it like going to the gym for the first time. You just started lifting weights and you're still figuring things out. You feel weak, your form sucks, and your muscles are sore. But the more you go and the more reps you put in, the stronger you get. You see, rejection works the exact same way. If you're not used to getting turned down, then it feels terrible. Your ego gets bruised, your mind spirals, and you start overthinking everything. But the more you get exposed to it, the less it bothers you. Let's take one of my clients as an example. He's a network engineer and he's super introverted. He barely has any friends and he struggles to get dates. When he came to me for help, he said that he wants to put himself out there, but he's just so afraid of what others might think of him. As a result, he often just stays in because he doesn't want to deal with the possibility of hearing the word no. To help him overcome this issue, I gave him some simple comfort zone challenges. One of them was to ask for a small discount the next time he bought something. And even though he felt hesitant, he pushed himself to do it anyway. That's when he realized that getting turned down isn't really such a big deal. Nothing bad actually happened to him, and he's still alive and breathing. And each time he heard the word no, it felt less scary. And now, he feels a lot more encouraged to keep putting himself out there. So, here's the big takeaway. Rejection is a regular part of your day-to-day interaction. You can't really avoid it, so you might as well prepare for it. Also, realize that it's usually not about you. Either your timing was off or you need to do some things differently. And when you learn how to handle rejection, you'll create more opportunities for yourself. You'll approach more people, share your thoughts in groups, and expand your network very quickly. By the way, if you're tired of getting overlooked and you want to learn how to build quality relationships, I'd love to connect with you. Book your free consultation by clicking the link below. But without this next point, not many people will take you seriously. And if you overlook this, you'll have a hard time building rapport with others. For this to make sense, I want you to pretend you're in a library and you're looking at two different books. One is clean and has a well-designed cover. The other one has dust all over it and the packaging looks outdated. Well, which one would you pick? If you're anything like me, you'd go with the first one, right? And you know what sucks? The second book can have better ideas than the first one. But because of the cover, a lot of people are going to pass up on it. You see, that's how it works in real life too. And it's not because people are mean. It's because our brains are wired to make quick decisions. So whether you like it or not, people are going to judge you before you even say anything. That's why you have to take your appearance seriously. Let's take one of my clients as an example. He's a civil engineer and he's actually a really great guy. He's super smart and has done some cool things in his life. But despite that, he has a hard time making connections. He told me that he'd walk into a room and barely anyone would notice him. At first, he thought it's because he's just naturally introverted. But in reality, it's because of the way he looked. His hair was messy and he didn't really have a good sense of style. So before working on his conversation skills, we had to improve his presentation first. That's when I told him to get a haircut and to buy clothes that fit him better. Nothing flashy or expensive, just things that are timeless and flatter his body. We also had to work on his posture. No more slouching, hands in pockets, and eyes on the floor. I got him to stand up straight, maintain proper eye contact, and to stop crossing his arms. And you know what happened after that? People started greeting him first. His coworkers responded to him better, and strangers were more open talking to him. As you can see, that's why this is so important. The way you present yourself signals to others what you're all about before you even say anything. So for the next coming week, just pick something simple to improve on. Whether it's your style, grooming, or posture, it doesn't matter. Just do what you can to start leveling up your appearance. Not only will you look better, you'll feel better as well. You'll come across as more likable, and more people will take you seriously. But if you don't implement this next point, socializing will feel draining for you. You'll be exhausted, and you'll just want to be left alone. But what if I told you that you can make more connections in a way that fits your personality? To show you what I mean, imagine planting seeds in dry and rocky soil. You can water them every day and give them enough sunlight. But because the conditions aren't right, they're not going to grow. But when you plant those same seeds in rich and healthy soil, they're going to sprout with way less effort. That's the power of being in the right environment. And the same thing applies with your social life as a high-achieving introvert. You might be doing all the right things to make connections, but if you're in the wrong place with the wrong people, nothing will click. That's why you need to put yourself out there more intentionally. You see, I wish I learned about this much sooner. When I used to be an awkward engineer, I stayed in a lot, which made me feel depressed. Determined to change that, I went online to find solutions. Back then, most of the resources that I read said that I had to go to bars and clubs to meet people. And because I didn't know any better, that's exactly what I did. To be honest with you, I felt really overwhelmed in those places. That's why I ended up drinking just to calm myself down. And after years of doing that, I realized that something had to change. That's when I just started focusing on myself and pursuing my hobbies. And when I did that, I noticed something interesting. I was meeting more like-minded people, and talking to them was so much easier. Since we already had things in common, we were able to get past small talk and have more meaningful conversations. At that moment, socializing didn't feel like this other thing I had to do. And now I have like-minded friends and a quality partner. Remember, being social doesn't mean being everywhere. It means being intentional with the way you make connections. So, if you want to build a social life without feeling drained, spend more time in places where people share your interest. Because when you do, socializing becomes more enjoyable and stops being a chore. But everything else we've talked about won't matter without this next point. To explain to you what I mean, let me ask you a question. Have you ever laid in bed ruminating about something embarrassing you said a few months ago? It's like your brain just reminds you of every awkward moment you've had. And if you don't overcome this mental habit, you'll always feel anxious around people. But how do you actually do it? Well, let's pretend you have a camera and you're taking pictures. And depending on where you point it, that's exactly what it's going to capture. You can either take photos of the nice scenery or the trash in a garbage can. And you know what? The same thing applies with your self-esteem. You get exactly what you think about the most. That's why you have to be mindful of what you're focusing on. Let's take one of my clients as an example. He's a data scientist and is naturally quiet. Even though he's really smart, he doubts himself a lot. He would just second guess everything, and that's why he often just keeps to himself. When we started working together, I gave him a spreadsheet to fill out daily. He had to come up with 3 things that he did well, 3 things that he likes about himself, and 3 things that he's thankful for. And after he did it for a week, he told me that he started to feel better. He felt more comfortable in his own skin, and he's starting to trust himself more. As a result, he felt more confident putting himself out there and interacting with anybody. And all he did was to stop thinking about what was wrong and started noticing what was already working. Again, if you want to raise your self-esteem, you have to be mindful of what you're focusing on. By training your brain to think more of your wins and positive traits, you'll start to feel more capable. By making this mental shift, you'll be able to socialize with ease. But there's something very important that we didn't talk about today. If you want to have more quality connections, you have to be able to make friends. If not, then you won't have a lot of people to hang out with, which can make you feel lonely. To make sure that doesn't happen to you, watch this next video. That's where I give you more actionable tips to improve your social life. By the end of it, you'll be able to surround yourself with more like-minded people, so make sure you check it out.